there soon enough. While I'm here, how are you guys doing? Hello. Before this properly starts, I'm sorry for doing this out of nowhere. You know how I usually am. Is everyone okay? Six, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and here I am. Hello guys, can you guys hear me? Just let me know if you can hear me, okay? Gonna have the chat pull up for a bit. You guys get to ask me some stuff. Hi, okay. So perhaps my voice is a little bit low. It's just I have some problems with the whole setup. Maybe like this will go. It's a little bit tiring to have the microphone like this, but perhaps it'll work better for my voice. Does it sound better like this? I don't want to use like something to make my voice sound a lot like more with more volume. I feel like quality's lost a little bit. I am also not wearing headphones, therefore I am not sure if like the music is sounding good. I chose a playlist that I think is probably a chill one, but yeah. I just want to know. Guys. Okay. I wonder what does that mean when that sounds. Hold on. I have to take off something. Okay. So. Hello, Moby. Hello. Rae. Hello. Koenix. Hello. Hello, how you doing? Your volume could be a little higher. Yeah, I think that's just like a microphone thing. Hold on. Hold on. I might be able to. No, this is just. Is it better now? I think I just changed like a thing. It should be better now. I think. Can you guys listen to me a little better? I do remember that sometimes I just touch a couple of things like Audacity. That sometimes can alter how the microphone is received. It's good now, yay. Yeah, I figured it was like a couple of things on like Audacity. Okay, so what did I wanted to do a Q&A? There's a couple of reasons. Well, first of all, the anniversary is coming up. I have not had that much time to work on stuff. I'm so sorry for the dogs in the background. You're feeling too sad. I am still sad, but making stuff like this usually helps my mood. I don't want to talk about personal stuff now. Getting detached from stuff like that makes me feel a little better, so I just prefer to just do stuff like this. It's just overall to make me just overall something that makes me feel a little better. So outside of that, there is an anniversary coming up. I do want to work on that, but I am having a couple of things that I'm not so sure if I should talk about. Mostly because I do want to talk about like my personal story with like the development of the game, but like already everything we've done, like content wise for like the game, the assets, that by itself can be an entire hour of pure content. So I definitely am finding a little bit complicated to add like that personal part on top of like the whole asset creation and everything the volunteers have done. It's a very complicated project. I should have probably started it a while ago, and since we're getting at the middle of the month, I believe that I may have to cut down a couple of things, especially the things that are like personal. I do still want to talk about how the project started, because it started on a extremely personal note, and I believe that understanding the context will also make you understand a lot of things about game development and how it has gone for all these months, honestly, this almost year of game development. But yeah, I do want to talk about that. I do want to talk about a lot of stuff. We have the storyboard finished for Fumeko's Perspective B 1.0. I think you guys call it 1.0? I'm not sure. I would say dot, but I think that's for like writing, not for numbers. So yeah, I believe it's 1.0. With that, I do believe I want to answer a couple of questions you guys may have about some stuff going on. There's a lot to talk about, honestly, and I feel like I'm better explaining when someone actually asks me a question instead of just me rambling. So yeah, I have been thinking every now and then of making just like, I don't know, silly devlogs that are not really as produced as my previous video, but I do want to make this channel a little bit of a more produced channel at the very least, you know. For more simple content, I already have Blue Kitten, so I feel like I want this one to be a little bit more with stuff, you know, have a little bit more sauce, a little bit more spice. So yeah, with that, I think it's enough like an introduction. I want to hear your questions, so leave them in the chat. I saw someone on the Discord asking something, so yeah. I believe here in like the questions thing. Oh no, this is the work server. Hold on. Yeah, game suggestions. Maybe I confused it with something else. I could have sworn I saw something. It was someone asking about like the headbands thing. Ah. Hello, Maria. So, I cannot find whoever asks this on the Discord server right now. However, I did remember what the question was, and it was if Fumeko was going to have different headbands at different points of the story. I'm so sorry for the ducks in the background. I don't know, Latina household, I'm sorry. Oh, don't worry, if it's a repeated question, I'm going to tell you if it's a repeated question. Don't worry. But as I was saying, just leave the question and I'll answer it later. If Omeka was going to have different headbands, no, I don't think she will. Her headband is actually something important to the story. You may have noticed when I made the YouTube post about Fumeko's introduction, and well, all the characters' introduction with like a little image and fun facts. I did mention that Fumeko never takes her headband off. This is a thing that's being planning, although I do think I am a little scared of what people will end up thinking about like the plot twist. But her headband is something important to her, as both like the character and like herself. Think of it as keeping things together. Like a headband kind of keeps your hair together. Well, not exactly, it's just kind of like organized, but I like to see a headband kind of like keeping your head together. So Fumeko's headband is something important. The designs of the characters say a lot about them. It is something that I thought about a lot with the volunteers when we were like planning the redesigns of the characters a little bit. There's a lot of little details added in their uniforms, in the way they dress, in even their hairstyles. There's a lot that it's saying about the characters. Therefore, I lost my train of thought. Why did I lose my train of thought? Okay. Oh yeah, so the designs are important, and I did want to show a lot of the personalities and backstories of these characters through their designs. The just one thing that just to mention, Kaori's design, she's a little bit chubbier than the other characters. Not too much. She's not like fat. No, she's just chubby. Like the belly, especially. It's not very noticeable. The uniforms are very tight, so it's not that noticeable. However, I do want one of her dialogue pieces to have her say that she sometimes eats out of anxiety, so she does gain a little bit of weight after that, but she's trying to control herself, and thus she never really gained that much. That is one of the things that, I was planning on adding. Okay. The headphones once was asked by me, but I wasn't sure, so I deleted the question. Oh, it was you! Don't worry. The Hope the Ghost. I would rather not talk about it, because there's some stuff. And there's a lot of stuff. But I would rather just talk about the game. Not the outside thing, but the inside of the game. Game development, game story, game mechanics. That's the questions I'm going to answer here. And please respect that. Thank you. Okay, so any more questions you guys have? I like the headband one because it is something that I like to talk about this characters. Their designs do have a lot of thought put into them. Hisoka also has some. Hisoka has a lot of thought in his design. A lot of the characters have a lot of things in their design. Even Meikawa, everyone has just stuff. There are some ideas and stuff I have, but I thought it's repeated in other games. No, it's okay. Just go ahead and ask. Don't worry. It's fine. Don't worry. I am going to drink. What am I drinking? I'm drinking vitamin C. Why did you go for a 2.5 approach for the game? Ooh, this was interesting one. I like this one, thank you. So, Koei, why did I go for 2.5? So, one of the main reasons, it's because I have some experience with game development before. It is not something that I really enjoy talking about. I used to make games since I was 10 years old. And eventually I did made my own stuff. I do have one project that I've always wanted to do a revival on, but I'm not so sure about that now. It's kind of inspired by Mario Run, which I like Mario Run and another game. I don't remember the name right now, but it was about a little black stickman figure that was jumping between buildings. It was very inspired by that, and it has a story and levels. It was kind of platformy. But yeah. I don't really like to talk about why I don't like to remember that past, but I will say that a lot of my projects had to do with multiple people, with different people. Therefore, I don't really enjoy being associated with said people. So yes. Pretty much, I have always made 2D games. I've always liked them more aesthetically. And when I started this project, I assumed that I was going to be along with my husband working on this. So, I mostly assumed that Pinka would be helping me with the music and the programming. Therefore, I would be doing also programming. I also know programming. And overall, just the artistic stuff, the character animation, all that stuff. However, that would be for the game going in 2D, but I actually talked to Pinkat about this, and he told me that we could do the game 2.5, and I said, if we can, that would be good. Eventually, Pinkat wasn't really that inside the project. He is inside on a different level. You could say he's inside the project on the legal aspect. I'm not exactly sure how to describe it. It's not exactly legal, but it's more other types of organization, let's say. And overall, he's not exactly in the creative directive area, not at all. So It ended up just being a me thing, and I ended up having my group of people, and now we have the game as it is. I do think that 2.5 looks a lot better overall, and it does keep like the 2D aspects that I really like about those kind of things. We do have 3D models, but they are mostly environmental, and it is something that, you know, I kind of wanted to do as like something to make the background feel a lot more lively. Will there be some collectibles throughout the school? I have thought about it, but I'm not so sure right now. I feel like we have a lot on our plates, but I do think that maybe we could add a couple of nudges and little things every now and then. Hello, Nexus. You made me remember a lore piece about Kaori, where which some bullying eventually leads her to say a lot of mean things. Just how scary Kaori is when she's angry. She's as scary as an angry kitten. That's how I've always described Kaori. She's as scary as an angry kitten. Will there be any LGBT characters? Yes. Kaori is canonically bisexual and Yumi is a lesbian. Kaori being bi, it is something mentioned, but it's not really like a main topic. And Yumi being lesbian is going to play kind of a big role eventually. See, thanks. No, don't worry. I love to answer questions. Thank you for asking. So yes, when it comes to the other characters, I do have some ideas for future installments, not HeartStrings in particular. But for example, maybe in the future, I was thinking that if there's ever a sequel about HeartStrings, I would actually like to make Mei Kawa, actually the rival girl, be Arrow Ace. Mostly, I do think that in the canon of like HeartStrings as it is, Mei is 18. She's kind of young. She never really questioned anything about like sexuality. She just thought that being a partner was like being very good friends. So I do want to plan a couple of things. For example, Mei doesn't really blush with Hisoka. I do think that she doesn't really feel what most people in partnerships really feel. Therefore, there are a couple of things of maybe in Arrow Ace, but yeah. Gee, thanks. Don't worry. I don't know if you said it in another bits, but are there gonna be any other way to get endings without murder, something, you know, committing a crime? Only true ending. That's like the one ending where you don't get to kill anyone. Fumeko is a murderer. The one ending where she kinda gets a somewhat happy ending is the one ending where she actually stops doing crimes. And even that ending, you still need to kill someone, so technically no. I mean, unless you want to count the joke endings, you do have a joke ending where you flirt enough with Kaori so you end up dating her. So, it is a joke ending, it's not canon, so if you want to take it as an ending, then you do you know? So that would be Fumeko kind of... bi Fumeko? Kind of. Pansexual Fumeko. No, I don't know. I think Fumeko doesn't really question that. But it is a funny ending. Take that as you will. I'm gonna leave Fumeko's sexuality to be ambiguous. Also, sorry if I may have gotten scrambled. Oh, don't worry. Now I'm wondering how Hiroshi's bullying and the constant pressure of Mei parents made her narcissistic. So that's actually interesting. I have made a couple of live streams working on like Mikawa's notes for the writers. I do have writers on the team and they are working a lot when it comes to dialogue, when it comes to the cutscenes. Sadly, English is not my main language, and as such, I have a lot of problems making characters sound natural. This is something that I don't think people really talk about enough, but writing characters in a language that is not your own is very complicated. And sadly, you can't just write the very same things in your home language, because translator work is not just translating directly what it says, it's also accommodating for current uses, you really need to know the language to really translate it, and that's something I personally didn't account for. I do consider myself a somewhat good writer in Spanish, but English is a very different thing. So yes, I often write notes. And in those notes, I did say that the Mei we see nowadays is technically not the real Mei. Now, a couple of people have asked me why I didn't change Meikawa's hair color. It is kind of inspired by a thing about me, which is the fact that I'm not actually blonde. I know, shocking. I actually have dark hair. And I remember that when this is a personal thing that, you know, I wanted to give to Mei as a character, but after I made a life-changing decision to care for myself, I cut my hair short and I dyed it blonde. Not exactly blonde, I had like another color in mind, but eventually became blonde. So based on that experience, I like to think that Mei is like the complete opposite. So at one point she had to wear this very exaggerated, pretty look, almost princess look. And for that she had to dye her hair, and it was like, it's what I call the pre-programming event for Meikawa, and it's essentially giving up on everything she was and reprogramming her head to thinking that all the abuse she suffered by Hiroshi's bullying, by her parents, all of that would stop if she was just this perfect angelic being that she was meant to be according to everyone else. So it's kind of like the opposite of like my story, the whole Meikawa thing. So it is kind of, all of that is connected. With some girls, dyeing your hair blonde does make it this like very pretty blonde. I do have it, in fact. And yeah, I do think that Meikawa has that. This does mean that a lot of her hair is kind of not as in the best shape as she wants everyone else to believe, but she's not going to let people notice, obviously not. I do think that Mei is going to be a little picky with who gets to touch her hair. But yeah. That is also why in the renders of Meikawa, you get to see a lot of like hair sticking out of her buns. That is because it's like her hair is trying to pull out. Give me a second. I'm back. Okay, so like I was saying, I think that Mei having this like feeling like this new persona is the best version of herself is like her hyping up her own character, you know? So much that she even believes she's this character, and because everyone seems to like it, it must be because it's true. Therefore, everyone else is bad and she is the perfect one because she changed everything to be perfect. So I guess that's kind of like an explanation where Mei's narcissism comes from. You also have to think that this happened when she was very young, therefore she had many years to develop this kind of sense of superiority personality. Are there gonna be other playstyles, as in like playing more stealthy or something different? Interesting question. You're gonna have multiple endings, and in a lot of them you'll have to play minigames. So what are these minigames? So I did mention in the past that HeartStrings is going to have multiple minigames during gameplay. For example, minigames cleaning up blood, minigames for like throwing your clothing to a place to hide it, like your blood clothing. That is kind of like to make a little bit more of like the jokey side of the game. Fumeko doesn't really take herself too seriously when it comes to what she's doing. I do take that as dissociation, but I do think players at the beginning are not going to really see that. And as a fun fact that we added with the writer, Fumeko breaks the fourth wall, so that's going to be funny. in lore, that's just Fumeko talking to her own thoughts, and it's like she's breaking her own fourth wall because she's like so fucking full of herself that she's like, oh yeah, I'm the protagonist of my own game. Plot twist, she really is, but she'll never know. She doesn't know about that. She just thinks of like her entire thing as just like another game, and she's like, nah, yeah, bro, I'm so cool. I'm like the protagonist, and everyone else is the NPCs, you know? That is also why Fum Fum tends to be more childish compared to the other characters. She's really full of herself at the beginning of the game. But I do want her to be funny. I do want her to be funny, to just make these silly ass faces for the camera. So yeah, that is a little bit of a fun fact. I remember that came kind of like an accident, but then we thought, you know what, it just fits her character. Let's just keep that. Wait, I thought of something funny, but will there be dialogues where a character breaks the fourth wall as an Easter egg? Maybe. That's all I'm gonna say. Maybe. Does MC have a favorite food? Main character, Fumeko. I haven't thought about that yet. Other characters to specify. Just, I do think, like, let's just say maybe. Maybe some other character will break the fourth wall, and I'm looking at you, May. I'm looking at you, May, in particular. Okay. It's kind of like Nolly, the Forsaken Fur, where he thinks he's a star and everyone else is trying to steal her show. Actually, yeah, you could think of it like that. That's kind of like Fum Fum, honestly. It's like, I don't think she thinks that other people are trying to steal her show, but definitely they're becoming kind of like things she doesn't want to be like a potential threat. So I think a very big theme in the game is power and control. So, hello, Sona. Yeah, nobody expected it. I just did a Celia again. So a big thing about the game is power and control. So therefore, a character being full of their own shit, being like, ha, yeah, I'm the product, chat. Yeah, that would be Fumeko. Out of everyone, that would be Fumeko. She's the protagonist because she's the one that's like the most full of herself, as a way to as a way to like have the control of her own narrative by literally breaking the fourth wall. So that's some of the things I was thinking about. So yes, that is kind of some stuff. Oh, I'm beepy. So yes. By the way, how you doing, Sana? Any other questions you guys may have? For me to answer, I think PC is cooking lunch, so this live may have to be shorter, but I don't know. This might be a stupid question, but will the cutscenes be fully animated? Some of them. From Mecha's perspective, I do want it to be fully animated. I'm animating it myself. I am an artist at the end of the day, so I can do that kind of stuff myself. In case like all the other, like everyone in the anime artist team is having like their own stuff to deal with. So I'm kind of taking whatever time I have to work on the cutscene. So yes, I am working on an animated version of the cutscene. However, most of the dialogue pieces will be CGs, like Doki Doki. I might ask in a moment, but I am remaking that OC. Oh, nice. Mikhail. Nice. So yes, that's one of the things. I'm sorry, I'm very yippy. Thank you. Husband made me food. That's good. Okay. Any other questions you guys may have? I want to answer them. I really jump a lot, so same question can have me talking for a long time. Hold on. I know you mentioned DLCs. About that, I don't know if we'll have them. I do have ideas for DLCs in case we were to make them, but I don't know if we'll actually have them. It is fun to think about it, but it's not a priority, obviously not. There's many things that I kind of want to add, but they're not a priority, not by far. What kind of DLCs will you be making? If we get to make DLCs, it would be funny to make a DLC about everyone just wearing their like casual outfits, so it's like the school just allows for any kind of clothing. That would be fun. A little bit to show these characters like clothing choices, I guess. Would be funny, but I know. One that I particularly always think about is the gender swap versions, because I have a feeling that people are going to really hate male Meikawa. Like really, really hate him. I don't know, I just have a feeling. You often say that Kaori is that kind of loudmouth that loves saying what others are afraid to say, but not to produce things. Yeah, Kaori is a very honest person. She's always been very honest, to her own detriment sometimes, so... Kaori is like the one actively good person character. She never gets a happy ending. I am sorry, but this game is about pain and suffering. What's your favorite part of making the game? Is it writing the lore, designing the characters, etc.? Complicated. Probably just watching all of it coming together into a beautiful piece. Game development is tiring mentally, but it's tiring because there's so much stuff to do and you feel like you never really advance. That is a feeling that I think everyone in the team has, and it's normal. Really, it is normal. I remember even months just working on a very small project just for it to be so small, but it took so much out of me. That's usually how these kind of things go. Hello, PC. He's bad patting me. Stop. I'm making a serious questions and answers live stream. Calm down. Love you. But yeah, probably the best part is coming all of it together. Just seeing all the progress we've made come into this like beautiful thing, you know? That's probably the best part. It's always the best part. Although I have to admit that I always feel anxious whenever I see like my story being on like the screen. I'm like, oh, I'm not ready. I work on that. I'm not ready. I feel like that even as a director. I don't know. I never changed since I was a kid. I actually did work for small game companies when I was younger. They had me like an internship. I don't know how to explain it. But I did work as like concept artist. I even worked as like a voice actress at some point. I worked as a music composer. Those are like outside of my own projects, you know? Outside of my own projects, I worked as a concept artist. I know that at some point I worked as a concept artist for weapons and such. I worked as an animator, as a designer. I worked as a lot of things, honestly. I do have some of the stuff. I managed to recover at least some of the stuff that I got out of, like, I lost my train of thought again. I managed to recover some of the files from previous games I worked for. But yeah, they're not very fun to remember, especially because I was underpaid. I mean, I was a kid. They couldn't legally, like, add me into a contract, so... I didn't have very happy experiences with game developers in my youth. But yeah. Now that I'm like a game director of my own, with like actual people and a team that is currently working with me almost every day, I will say that my main priority as a game director is to have everyone on the team feel welcome and feel like they're not obligated to anything. I'm going to ask things because, you know, I'm the director. But if they cannot do it, if one day it's just too much for them, it's fine, you know. I'm not going to throw them just because they can't do something one day. That is how a lot of people made me feel when I was younger, especially in the game development area, and that's just not something that I want to replicate with others. That's just not something that I like to do. I believe that happy people are going to do a lot more in the long run than just treating them poorly and expecting the most out of them. On top of that, I cannot even pay them, so I have like no right to treat them wrong, so yeah. I don't know. I really enjoy talking with the team. I love directing them. I love the ideas that everyone has, because like everyone even if everyone kind of like has an idea of where the story is going, basically because of like things I've said, things where we've worked together. Everyone has their own flavor to add to this game. So hearing everyone's voices, hearing everyone's take, even Takara's voice lines on Fumeko, she has like a unique flavor to them. And you add all of them with like my direction, and I don't know, I just think it's going to be very beautiful at the end. So yeah, I think all of that is what really makes game development be so beautiful to me. Just the passion of everyone in the project, just coming along together to tell this story, is something that really motivates me to keep going. Hi, I'm back. So will there be an indirect references to other game series? Maybe. I love video games and I would love to add references. The only sad thing is that I cannot add Nintendo references or they're going to add a lawsuit to me. Everyone knows, don't add Nintendo references to your projects. Just don't. They're going to give you a lawsuit. Don't mess with legal Nintendo. So that's about it. But it's portrait temporarily. It's okay, Maria. No worry. So yeah. There's a remake. Yeah, no worry. Okay, any more questions? I maybe stay here for like 50 minutes more, then I'll leave. I'll leave you guys alone. Oh no. I forgot I chose a playlist of like 10 hours. Okay. I do plan on adding some. Okay. It's fine. What's your opinion on people shipping your characters together? Are you comfortable with it or not? The only ship that would make me uncomfortable would be any ship with Hiroshi. Hiroshi's a genuinely fucking horrible person. Nah, but like, no joking. I don't know. I thought just to you. Okay, so I guess the only real thing that would make me uncomfortable would be skin swapping, because like I know that a lot of artists enjoy doing this thing like where they change a light skin characters, like a light skin to just make it like a dark skin to make it like POC. I personally just don't like race swapping, especially because every character in HeartStrings has more relation to my Chilean culture. And Chilean culture is mostly people with a skin like mine. So for example, Fumeko does have a more kind of like tan orangey skin. Mei has a more pale milky skin kind of. And Hisoka has a darker skin. I'm not exactly sure what name would it have in English. I don't know that part. Like, I don't know if you guys have like specific names for those kinds of shades. But yeah. A lot of that is because these characters are very inspired by my culture. They're very inspired by the things I do. Therefore, it would personally make me uncomfortable if people really change their skin color to something that kind of feels... I don't know, it just feels weird. Wait, hold on. Something. Sorry, something just happened. But yeah, like I said, it just feels like people would be taking, because like they're not white because they're like this base American thing. That's just because Chileans have a paler skin. That's it. In fact, a lot of them, they're not even pale. They do have like this more like rosy kind of tints to their skin. Not all of them, but a lot of them do. And yeah, I guess that would be like the one thing that would make me uncomfortable. Again, because they're all based on Latino culture, so please respect my culture. Outside of that, cosplayers, that's fine, you know, you cannot change your skin, therefore any cosplay is fine, doesn't matter the race, honestly. Just do what makes you happy. Oh no, Vinny, oh no. I thought of something random. So will there be a character who will be allowed to bring game consoles to school? Well, I mean, if the teacher doesn't catch you, then yeah, you're fine with that. Just don't use it during class. Use it outside of class. They'll probably be there. I don't want to make a Switch reference because Nintendo, please spare me. Your legal team, please spare me. But it would be funny. It would be fun. I don't think nobody would be bringing a Game Boy though. Maybe their phone games. That would be like one thing, I believe. Oh yeah. PC is being clean again. What? Okay. Latino Japanese communities is a plus in your game. Yep. There are references to both cultures. Surprisingly, Chileans in particular and Japanese people have very kind of similar things. For example, both of our schools are like full-time schools. So yeah, we have that like trauma in common. Nintendo Ninjas, yeah. Are you fine with people making fan-made OCs? Yeah, do whatever, honestly. You want a Yuma ship with the characters, then go ahead. It's just fun. I'm not here trying to like tell you to not have fun. Although I will say, please don't ship adult characters with minors. That's weird. That's like my one thing. Just don't do that. It's weird. Okay. Don't ship adult characters with minors. It's weird. That's like, no, Penny, she hates them. But yeah, that's like my one thing. The rest is fine. Just make your Yuma ships, make your fan arts, make your things. It's just fun. You know, it's fun. I'm going to continue this. We have about 10 minutes. Anything else y'all wanna ask? I need myself a little. How my day has been. Very bad at the very early morning. Very horrible. A lot of shit happened. But I'm a little bit more calm down now. Making stuff like this really helps me. I'm wondering how the main title screen will look actually. I have been thinking a lot about that too. I've always believed that a game title is like the book cover of a game. So one thing is the book cover outside of like the game itself, like, you know, the Steam page and that. But another thing is like inside of the game, like a book cover to like the entire story. Therefore, I've always taken those kind of things very seriously. However, I have been having a little bit of trouble with that. Basically because of how the story is and how it evolves. I believe something like Little Miss Fortune take on it would be actually ideal. Because as you continue this story, the title screen changes depending on where you are. I would love to see this expressed as like different CGs. So if you go into regular gameplay, you will see a couple of funny CGs, maybe even depending on the last ending you got. But if you're in the track of completing true ending, you will see different CGs depending on where you left the game. So that is something that I've been thinking about. That is what I'm thinking about when it comes to the screen stuff. Going something a little bit like Little Miss Fortune, but Little Miss Fortune is about a little girl, therefore a lot of the UI elements are more about Little Miss Fortune herself, like her innocence, and I really like that. So I kind of have to see how this could relate to the whole like thing. I don't want it to be like strings, so I do have a couple of ideas. How is your baby doing? Good too. Is your baby doing good too? Yeah, it's in my belly still. We're gonna know who they are in like 6 months probably. So the title screen changes depending on where you are in the story, just like in Omori, Little Miss Fortune. There's a lot of games that do that, but I do want to check a couple of examples of other games who have done something very similar. So, you know, I think that would be very good. So yeah, kind of like that. What I do want to make a part of me wants to make the title screen something very unique, kind of like the Persona series. I also believe that HeartStrings is not like the Persona series, and it's not like Danganronpa either, because Danganronpa also, like Danganronpa V3 has a really special opening. It's very unique. And while I love to get inspiration from Japanese games for stuff like that, I have a feeling like maybe I'm just overcomplicating it than it actually has to be. I have a question. I don't remember if I asked this before. Is the main character supposed to be likable in your game, or is she the kind of character that's supposed to be fascinating but not likable? She's like, let me think of a character. She's kind of like Cartman at the beginning of the game, of course. Then you kind of like, once you get to see like her vulnerable parts, you find her to be interesting. So, Fumeko is supposed to be someone that you don't agree with, but you can understand where she's kind of coming from. Kind of. So, you will see very early on that she kind of has this like idea that nothing is like real, and she's like the protag and everyone else is the NPCs. And I do think that having the dialogue writer break the fourth wall, because we did like that. If you were not previously in the live stream, Fumeko will break the fourth wall every now and then, as like with jokes and stuff like that. So I do want that to be like the separation that, you know, you're not Fumeko, you're playing as Fumeko. Therefore, the idea is to find her interesting, even if you know that she's in the wrong. So eventually, because you're able to disconnect with Fumeko, I think it'll be a lot easier to criticize her. I don't want to have a protagonist that is uncriticizable. I don't know how to explain it. So she's not a self-insert. She's not someone that you're supposed to be, she's 100% me. You're supposed to feel some sympathy for her, but at the same time just see her as what she is, which is kind of like an over-the-head pathetic clown. So that is kind of who she's supposed to be. One that you get to understand as the game goes on, and you get to care for in the different endings, where you get to see the different sides of herself, of the love interest, of all of these things. That's also why the game is very poppy. So you have the death animations, which are inspired by Among Us. They are supposed to be funny, because Fumeko is not supposed to be some character that you take too seriously at the beginning of the game. She is a clown, even to the player. But once you start to actually care for her, therefore you actually take the proper steps to complete true ending, and, you know, eventually get to care for all of these kids, then that's when you'll actually get to see who she truly is, once she actually starts to open up to both the audience and Hisoka. Here's another thing, you don't know Fumeko's backstory until True Ending. True Ending is the only ending where you'll get Fumeko's backstory, because it's the ending that requires you to care for what she's doing, to put enough effort to get to know who this character is, who all of these characters are. In order to have True Ending, you don't require to finish the other endings. However, the other endings have information about the characters, about locations, about items that you may not get in True Ending. True Ending does not hold your hand. You have to know those things when you get into True Ending. Essentially, you have to care. You have to care about the game, you have to care about the story. If you just want a game about murdering and killing and having different endings where you do all of this kind of stuff, you have that. You have that in the base game, in regular gameplay. You get to stab, you get to kill, you have the funny animations, you have all the kind of stuff you can collect. You can just have fun and just challenge yourself. I do want to have like a speedrunning challenge inside of like the game. So you just get to do whatever, have fun, and just, you know, if that's all you want from the game, that's fine. Then you don't have to complete the game to True Ending to just have everything you want. If you just want to play the strategy and you want to create this like situation and stuff like that, then you can just do it. If you just want to create a situation for Mikao and you want to plan it between days, then you have the before class and lunch times, and because like they're gonna be in the same place. And if you want a specific elimination method you want to try, you have how do I say this? You have the after class, which will give you a unique ending. All of the endings show a little bit more about these characters. All of the endings are supposed to tell you something, or just overall help you know where to find stuff, get you used to the school. So yeah. True ending is if you really, really care about an ending that isn't bad. It's just that every ending is bad, canonically. Fumeko and Hisoka will never be happy in any ending you get. They all are bad endings. That's because they're all bad people. They don't get to have a happy ending. And True Ending is the only ending that ends up in a happier note, but it's not happy, it's just bittersweet. It's satisfying though. The other endings are endings. I mean, they tell the ending of a story. They are interesting. But I do always have this, like, I like to live this, like, feeling of maybe there's more, you know? It is an ending. It is a satisfying conclusion to the story if you want to end it there, but don't you want a little more? Don't you want to really get to know who these people are? And that's when the killings start to become more serious. Essentially, true ending is when you actually start to take the weight of your own actions. Before that, you're not. Now, depending on who you are, maybe you'll stop playing after true ending. Therefore, I do want to make true ending not like the default ending you go to. You don't get any hints about true ending. You just have to know. You just have to know. And yeah, one of those things that I do kind of like want to show is that, for example, to get true ending, you actually have to find Yumi. However, unless you get introduced to Yumi as a character, you won't know which one of the background students is Yumi. In the other endings, you get to memorize Yumi's pattern and like path around the school, which is not something you have in true ending. Like in true ending, you don't get introduced to Yumi in the first day. Therefore, if you don't find Yumi in the first day between all the students, you are locked out of true ending. That is one of the challenges of true ending. You need to know who these people are. So that's just one of those things. You said that Fumiko is narcissistic, but I imagine her being misanthropic too. I don't know what that word means in Spanish, I'm so sorry. She's human who hates all humans. Yeah, Charo-like. You make the main character sound like Flank Underwood, someone who is evil but talks to the audience. Yeah, I mean, she is kind of like a clown, the butt of the joke sometimes. I like to believe that if you can't make a character be like cool and kind of intimidating, the other option is to make them a clown, and if you want, you can add like the sad backstory, which is what I do because I like it. It's also worth remembering that Fumiko is 16. She's the youngest out of all of the people in the cast, and yeah, that is something kind of like by design. Fumiko is the most immature out of them all because she is the youngest. So you will find that Fumiko is kind of like a little edgy every now and then. So that is a part of her character. I do want every character to have like kind of their own way of talking. Hisoka is also insanely edgy. I just think it's like cute. He's just edgy. But he also has this like soft side to him, which is what I really like about him as a character. Mei is interesting because Hisoka, for example, I do want Hisoka to be a bad mouth every now and then. But Mei never says insults, and she finds like any other way to not say insults. But you also feel more insulted by her, if anything. Yumi is the kind of character to not say insults, but to just say the most like hurtful shit ever. But not insults, because she's too classy for insults. Then there's Kaori, which tries to say insults, but can't because she's not used to it. So that's kind of like what every character does. Hiroshi's a bad mouth, but he only just let it slip after his mask is off. Before that, he's tried to play the good boy thing. As you said before, but still feeling curious about why you love making villains that were born and not made. Should you make a video essay about why villains are not born but they are made? That's simply my life philosophy. I don't think people are born evil. I refuse to believe people are born evil. I like to believe that the evilness they have is something that it was given at some point by either an external thing or maybe like an internal battle. I believe that's just how in real life people are. Call me an optimist, but I believe everyone is good-hearted. Everyone has a good nature at heart, because like humans are social creatures. We come from mammals. Therefore, I don't believe social creatures are meant to be bad for one another, but necessity creates the beast. That's what I've always believed. That's what I'll keep believing. Therefore, a lot of these characters, they have something that instigated them into the dark path. However, by the same reason that I believe that everyone came from like their surrounding affected them, I also believe that everyone has the power of choice. Therefore, everyone can change if they try to, if they attempt to, if they take the right steps to do so. If they don't, they'll become the monster in someone else's story. If they do, they will break the abuse cycle. However, what happens when someone already continued the abuse cycle in the worst way possible and still tries to be redeemable? That's kind of like the question I'm trying to answer with HeartStrings. Someone who already continued the cycle but wants to end it. They don't want to keep hurting people even if they know they've already done it. Can you still be redeemed after that? How could you redeem yourself in a world that does not really give you anything for doing so? One of the criticisms on HeartStrings, it is a game full of social criticism, I will be honest about that, is that because Fumeko is a minor, a lot of legal stuff cannot happen. So I guess this is a bit of a spoiler, but canonically Fumeko cannot go to jail because she is a minor. This is a criticism of stuff that happened in real life. Essentially, at least here in Chile, if an aggressor is a minor, it's very unlikely they'll end up in jail. There's also a thing that the legal system needs to really be pushed with like lawsuits and stuff until they actually do something. They won't do something just because a crime happened. You know, there's someone who needs to be constantly on their back to get them to do their job, which sucks, but that's just reality. Sadly, a lot of Fumeko victims, they never really got any closure, and even if they were trying to make a lawsuit against Fumeko, like trying to accuse her of stuff, the truth is she would just get scotch-free. She's a minor. There's a legal loophole that they can't do anything to her, which sucks, but that's just reality. And it is sad reality, one that I don't believe should be, but it's one in many places of the world. Children are both overprotected and underprotected. It's like people think children can't do bad stuff just because they're children. You know, children are not stupid, just, you know. But even the law treats them as stupid. Therefore, it is one of the common criticisms on HeartStrings, and it's one of the main reasons why the characters are even minors. It is a thing that's talked about. Will there be other locations in the game outside of from the school? Not right now. I don't think so. There are implications of other places, but I don't think you will have like a gameplay in another place. So yeah. When it comes to the social criticisms, there's many things that I really would like to talk about in HeartStrings. Again, one of the things is that Fumeko technically never goes to the police, even in game overs. She just gets changed schools, which is unsatisfying, and it is something talked about in True Ending in particular. None of Fumeko's victims will ever truly get closure, and it's sad, but it's real. Even if Fumeko went to jail, she will be released and like nothing. Again, because she's a minor, they will probably try to say something like, oh, she's mentally unstable, therefore she shouldn't be condemned. And it's very likely the car will agree with them because children are stupid. Because a minor is stupid and they don't know what they're doing. Which, fun fact, it's a real thing lawyers do to get their clients out of stuff, especially if they're minors. Like, the mere fact that a minor can even get to court is already difficult in real life, so yeah. So, that is a very heavy critique I have of society. And it is something that is gonna be talked about. So, if Fumeko dies, like, let's pretend that Fumeko cannot live with herself and she just dies and writes a confession. What closure would that give? Yeah, she stopped So what? That's not going to give the victims their family back. There's no real closure. There's no thing they can really do. So, how do you redeem yourself in a situation like that? How do you do what's right when not even the people that are supposed to do right to you will ever do you right? Not even if you're like the bad guy, even if you go to confess, they won't do anything to fix the wrong that has caused. How can you replace human life? The truth is that you can't. But you can change in order to not hurt any more lives. You can try to give closure by just at least knowing how it all ended. Leave the victims to heal by themselves, to find a way to heal, even after all the damage that's been done to them, and never bother them again. That is one of the things about the game. So yeah. Some countries are attempting to allow minors to go to jail. It's not a real thing yet, so... It's not a real thing here, so, you know. Unless you're from, like, you know, a particularly group of dark-skinned people, then yeah, they're gonna put you to jail. Racism. What do you think that Hisoka is the actually one in danger despite him also being a minor? Yeah, we're not really shying away from those topics, either. Though people really not think that the whole thing of Mei being this pure white princess and Hisoka being this like dark-skinned beast was not something done on purpose. It's a critique. Hisoka Mei would never work out. And it's not precisely because of Hisoka. Little Miss Perfect is not so perfect. It is a critique. I am sorry. I am Chilean. I have to do social critiques, or else my blood may boil. So yeah, Bunker. Hello. Burger. Yes. I believe I should rest now. But yeah. That is a thing about HeartStrings, so I hope y'all had some fun in this little Q&A. Maybe so one day I'm going to actually prepare one of those things to like have some time for people to prepare. So with that said, thank you so much for watching this little live stream of mine, and see you in the next one.